it's a social enterprise. That means that it's not a for-profit company, it's a company for social benefits, just like public works is for social benefit. And I prepared not a formal presentation, but a kind of talking points of mini lecture. Then that's what I would give. But then just listening these amazing stories, these amazing prototypes, all of that can be the beginning of a whole new social innovation experiment at increasing scale. So just listening to that inspired me to take a different tack, not as much me talking, but creating something, a little experiment together. Like we are what I call this an ad hoc commons. It's created for a short amount of time. Actually, probably we don't have more than 20 minutes or so. So it will be really a shortest commons I ever participated in. And obviously it's not a land-based commons. We don't have a common land, but we do have a lot of knowledge together, a lot of experience, a lot of insights and inspirations. So all that are the key resources of our improvised knowledge commons. And well, maybe just a few words for having a shared vocabulary, what I mean by commons. Let me quote something from Salim that I picked up. I tell you frankly, I picked it up not during her presentation, but when I was researching architecture and commons. So now I just have to find it, and I do know that here it is. Okay. So put my other eyes on. So Salim wrote, the commons provide a model for living together and sharing resources which precedes historically most democratic systems and yet is substantially more progressive in terms of social inclusion than most other systems. So the reason I started with this because it helps us understanding to what sense can we become a commons right now. Well, it's by including everybody in the creation and access to our common resources, which we will just discuss a few points. So that contribution and access to these are characteristics of today's commons. The other is the shared governance. So what makes a commons is people self-organizing for producing, creating, and governing, protecting together the resources that what they need for their material and immaterial well-being. So it's quite a mouthful sentence, but the essential point is that we create our resources, the resources of the knowledge commons together. So I guess that's enough for introduction, and then let's start doing it. The doing it is really very simple. Commons frequently start, knowledge commons frequently start by one person having an idea for something that he knows that he or she couldn't create the kind of resources she needs alone, so she's ganging up, associating with other commoners in the sense, again, what Salim told us, the commoner is somebody who activates her right to commons. So I found this a quite essential definition that I want to steal. I mean, I will give Salim the credits, but I will use that a lot because that's a really great definition. So let me ask a question, and that's how we start the commoning process. Who amongst us here who feels that you are or you aspire to be a commoner. In other words, that you have activated your rights to the commons or you desire to do so. Wow! Oh, I knew before I came here, I knew that I'm coming to the right place. Because obviously I'm passionate about doing whatever I can to deepen the conversation and guide the conversation towards action about creating the commons. So now we know that almost most of us are commoners in one sense or aspire to be. Then let's think of what if we would bring together at least a part of our desire about creating a commons, because I imagine that if I would ask, so what is the specific commons? What is the kind of commons that you activated the right to or aspire to? Then it would be probably a number of different things. So for us to become this ad hoc commons, we need to find something that we would value as a common resource. Well, I, as one of the commoners present here, I know that what would be tremendously valuable to me if I would have access to your experiences, to your knowledge, to your insights and your inspiration, and if I would have a chance to be in productive conversations with all of us commoners who activated or plan to activate the right. So what would it look like? What would it look like if we indeed have access to each other's knowledge resources, either between your two ears or on your hard disk, or things that are important that you wouldn't mind to share it with the rest of us, so that not only I, but all the other commoners would also have access to the collective intelligence of all the other commoners present. What would it look like? Well, I know that we just don't have all the time what it would take, for example, for me to respond the phone calls or the email messages coming from everybody in these commons who would want to know about something, about some of the resources that I'm bringing to the commons. So let me be a little bit more concrete and say a few words about the resources itself. The main resource at this time that I'm thinking of is the Community Knowledge Garden. So the Community Knowledge Garden is a little bit similar to what Torange told us about the Abbey Garden, except that this is not a land-based garden, but a digital knowledge garden where currently you can find not hundred thousands of articles, as Michel, more comprehensive side, but only maybe a few hundred selected pieces about various types of commons. So material commons, immaterial commons, and in what sense can that be a resource? Well, it's not as much the specific knowledge that you may find there, although that too can be interesting for everybody, I guess, because if you, in whatever commons you are activating, you probably want to know about how can we address the broader issues related to the commons, the broader challenges. Like, for example, it was just so eye-opening for me when I heard Torange telling us the story about the initial challenges with the local authorities and the difficulties of getting the proposal approved as she wanted. And what was eye-opening for me, is that just before that we heard from several common land anymore. And we know that the state is about protecting private property, protecting state property, and doesn't leave any room for the commons. So